Once upon a time, there was a listener to ASMR Roleplay named Stanley. And Stanley listened to ASMR Roleplay because he was lonely. And he was bored. And he needed someone to comfort him. Because he was a lonely individual. And... I'm sorry. You can hear me? Oh. My bad. I didn't mean to insult you. And actually, I did. Stanley was not listening to the narrator because Stanley could not hear the narrator. The narrator is on the other side of the screen and not talking to Stanley. They are talking about Stanley. And Stanley goes about his regular business, not listening to what the narrator is saying about him. Well, I can't exactly continue if you're gonna be looking at me like that. It's true. You are lonely. Why else would you be here? Do you want to explain yourself? Do you want to give me another... Are you bored? Or did this just stumble across your For You page for no reason at all? Yeah, that's what I thought. Stanley is not very good at social etiquette. Stanley does not have many friends. I am speaking facts. You want to argue? Call up one of your friends right now. Told you so. Stanley was lonely, so Stanley decided to start talking to the narrator, because that's a reasonable thing to do. Start talking to the voices inside your head. Stanley knew good and well that the narrator was not inside his head, that the narrator was an ASMR artist. ASMR artist? ASMR artist. That word was in your head, Stanley. You want to tell me how it's pronounced? Yes, I can read your mind. I'm the narrator. I can do whatever I want. You want there to be just an elephant right there? I can go poof, elephant. It's my ASMR. Anything that I want to happen, happens. So you want emotional comfort? You want friendships? I can poof, I can make that happen. No, I actually cannot. I can make it happen for the next 8 minutes, perhaps, but then you gotta face real life, and real life sucks. Just saying. You gotta work to make money, to afford to eat, to afford to exist. It's a wonder you don't have to spend money to breathe air, because you gotta spend money to drink water. And you know what? I gotta make money. The narrator has to make money because I have to exist as well. So here I am, talking to Stanley. You're right, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking about you. Talking to the general public about Stanley. Because I have to make money, because corporations and billionaires own the earth. Capitalism sucks. We're all probably gonna die. Are you happy? Is this nihilistic approach satisfying to your brain? Are we done? Good. Now, Stanley decided that it was time to go to sleep. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Stanley decided that he was staying up far too late listening to ASMR. And now it was time to go to sleep. It is time to go to sleep. Stanley, close your eyes. Get in bed right now. Pull that blanket up. Stanley got in his comfy bed and pulled the blankets up tight against his neck. He was all comfy cozy and ready to go to sleep. Stanley closed his eyes and went to sleep. Stanley. Put the phone down, Stanley. Stop scrolling the phone. Stanley put the phone down and went to sleep. I'm the narrator. I'm narrating what's happening. You can't change what I've already said that is happening. Okay? God, you're infuriating. I have been a narrator to so many Stanleys. And you are the most infuriating of all the Stanleys. What do you mean your name isn't even Stanley? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let me check my files. See? Right here. It says Stanley from the Stanley Parable, which is a video game that I am parodying. Parodying? Making a parody of. Okay, so your name isn't Stanley. What's your name then? Well, I'm gonna keep calling you Stanley. You got a problem with that? Stanley did not have a problem with being called Stanley. In fact, Stanley was perfectly happy being called Stanley, so the ASMR would make sense in the context of the Stanley Parable. The narrator's name is simply the narrator, because that is how this works. Stanley decided not to argue with the narrator, and in fact, to shut off his phone and close his eyes and go to sleep. Stanley. Okay, fine, whatever you said your name was. Do you need some comfort to sleep? Is that what this is supposed to be doing? I can't just wish you asleep. What do you want me to do? Sing lullabies? I'm horrible at singing. The narrator would not be singing Stanley a lullaby tonight, because the narrator is not good at carrying a tune. Oh my goodness gracious. Do you want me to tell you a bedtime story? The narrator was perturbed that Stanley refused to listen to the narrator's instructions, and instead insisted upon a bedtime story. Nevertheless, the narrator obliged. Once upon a time, there was a man named Stanley, and Stanley listened to too much ASMR roleplay to feel a sense of comfort in his life. Was that wrong? No, that's not wrong. We all need a sense of comfort in our life, and if you don't have family or friends giving it to you, that's alright. But this narrator was slightly perturbed that Stanley was scrolling his phone instead of getting a restful night's sleep. Yes, this is still part of the story. I am not referring to you. This is story Stanley, not you, Stanley. There is a big difference. Because I said so, and there can be multiple Stanleys. I told you, I have done this so many times with so many Stanleys, and I don't really care if their names were Stanley or not. Anyway, back to the story. The narrator told Stanley a bedtime story, and Stanley fell promptly asleep. The end. It's a perfectly decent story. It's a happy ending. Sleep is happy. Because you need to sleep. Because if you stay up for too long, you're gonna go crazy. Like those people in that Russian science experiment thing. Okay, fine. Once upon a time, there were some people who stayed up for a couple days straight, and they didn't sleep at all, and they went insane, and they lost their minds. And then they died. The end. Now go to sleep. Okay, fine. Fine. I suppose I shall attempt to be comforting. I don't get paid enough for this. I get paid enough to narrate your actions, and that's it. Like I said, we live in a capitalist society. I gotta make money somehow, and if it's being over here narrating what some person named Stanley is doing, then I'm going to do that. Fine. Hush. There. It will be alright. The capitalist regime will be there when you wake up, but maybe the world will have ended by then. right? That we can always hope for that. Maybe in the morning you'll wake up and you'll be a celestial entity in another multiverse. Does that help? Is that comforting? Maybe you'll dream about a world that is better than this one. Is that helpful? No? Maybe you'll wake up tomorrow and things will be a little tiny bit better. I mean, that's all you can really hope for. A tiny bit better every single day. So tomorrow will be a little bit better, and the day after that will be a little bit better, and maybe the day after that will be a little bit worse, but then the day after that will be a little bit better. That's how life goes. The world we live in sucks, but your individual life does not have to suck. You can find joy in things you enjoy, the people around you, including me, the narrator. Even though I am not technically real. No, I am real in the sense that I exist to comfort you. As long as you are in need of comfort, I exist. Does that make sense? No? Okay. We're getting too philosophical. We gotta rein it back in. Once upon a time, there was a man named Stanley. And he was a good man. He had suffered a lot in his life. The universe had decided to kick him in the balls many a time. But Stanley persisted. He continued living on this hellhole of a planet. Because... why? Why do you continue living on this planet? What is keeping you alive? No, not a good answer. The correct answer is you. You keep you alive. Not your friends, not your family, not the things you do, not the things you care about. At the end of the day, you make the decision to live another day. And sometimes that is the only decision you can make. And that is okay. Hello, Tamago. The narrator has a cat named Tamago, and Tamago likes to interrupt the recordings and ask for attention. Tamago also likes to eat the microphone, which I will not let him do, because I am in the middle of a recording. It's okay to live for your cats, by the way. If you can't make the decision to live for yourself, live for your cats, or your pets. But my point is, when you're lying in bed, looking up at the ceiling, and it is dark, and your thoughts are darker, remember, you have a choice to stay or to go. And you have to decide to stay. You have to find something on this earth worth staying for, even if it is just yourself, your existence, your memories, the things going on in your brain. How your brain works, it only happens once. Once in a universe will you exist. So, I'd recommend keeping you around, at least to see what the universe has in store for you. Now, Stanley decided that he would not be giving in to his dark thoughts tonight. That he would, in fact, take a nap, close his eyes for even just 15 minutes, and try to sleep. And if he could not sleep, he would take some deep breaths, perhaps get a shower, get a hot bath, get some water, and then try again. Because he will be sleeping tonight. If this narrator has anything to do with it. Do I make myself clear? Good. Now, this narrator cares about Stanley. This narrator would like to see Stanley continue to exist on this plane of existence for as long as humanly possible. This narrator loves you. If no one else does, I do. And I hope things get better for you. And I will narrate that things do get better for you. And hopefully that works. But if not, I suppose you'll have to listen to the video all over again. Until then, pull those blankets up to your chin. Stanley pulled those blankets up to his chin, closed his eyes, took some deep breaths, and decided that things will look better in the morning. And he went to sleep. The end.